People, Deluded, I'm back again. Welcome back each and every time. It means the world. Please make sure you hit the like button on the video. Now, over the weekend, or better yet, yesterday, Arsenal were defeated 1-0 against City. And it's an interesting game. In many aspects, it is the same old story with Arsenal. In many aspects, there are some positives to take. You know, either way, we've got to take the good with the bad and apply it next week. You know, we've got to play Leicester, who I believe, I didn't watch it, but have lost to Aston Villa today. I'm sure they want to fight back. We also have the Europa League. It's been and gone. You know, positives are being, you know, not that you want to judge it on things like that, but we lost 3-0 a few months ago. We lost 1-0. I think, you know, Arteta got his tactics right and wrong. You know, I think at many aspects we matched them. I'll get onto it. But first 20, when we was kind of pressing them, when we was kind of at it, it looked spot on. Obviously, with Willan in the 9 role, and he's actually kind of indirectly kind of hinted that that won't be the first and last time Willan will occupy that position when he needs it. That didn't happen. I felt, you know, we have shown it in many games now. Defensively, we can be a tough unit to break down. We can, you know, kind of cater towards the other team. I felt, you know, when you look at the threat City pose, many aspects we weren't good enough, but I felt tactically we did what we needed to do to guard against that. I think where we need to learn now is that's only half of the job. We've still got to present a threat to Man City. We still have to create chances and whatnot, and we didn't really create chances. We didn't really fashion any shots and whatnot. I don't think it was a poor performance. It's very much a case of what ifs, and ifs and buts don't win football matches. We can only deal with the facts, and you know, we need to improve and do better in the top 6 clashes, specifically away from home. We've had 2 opportunities so far, and you know, we've not beaten Liverpool and we've not beaten Manchester City, so it is what it is. The first thing which was of relevance to me, people, was actually how City were lined up. Now, this is what I call in real time. You know, in real time, this is what I believe I saw from Man City. Now, you saw a back 3. Personally, people, I think Kyle Walker was there. I think you had Rodri coming from midfield and acting as a screen, and in no order. And you obviously had Ruben Dias. You had Ake being a left back. You know, you had Cancelo, who I'm going to show you was playing like a midfielder, but you had him there. Bernardo Silva, for me, was picking up the ball in pockets and getting it off Rodri and his centre halves and whatnot. You obviously had Phil Foden in that role. You had Mahrez being quite narrow. You had Sergio Aguero and Raheem Sterling up front, and you obviously saw numerous aspects. Raheem Sterling dropping into this role and picking up the ball. Sergio too, to a degree as well. You also saw that. Now, you know, that's how I felt their formation was in real time, and I think they outdone us. You know, I was quite annoyed. I wanted to ask a bit more questions of Ake in particular, because, you know, I know he can play at left back, but he's a centre half by trade. You know, Cancelo and Kyle Walker, maybe with Cancelo playing out there, Kyle Walker had a bit more confidence, because this was the one game I didn't really see him respected by me, and he still went forward. Maybe that was the approach we was going with. As I said, that's what I would call it in real time. I think if you was to, for a better example, and you was to station the formation for you that like to see it, you know, you had a lineup along the lines of that, people. You firmly had that, and I'd actually say that. You had them man quite narrow, and that kind of prevented us, people. You know, they had Phil Foden and Mahrez on either side, quite narrow. You know, Mahrez presented a lot of problems. Foden was involved in the first goal. Cancelo was going out there, but you saw him occupying a midfield position, as did you see Bernardo Silva. Rodri was acting as that. And then you obviously had the 3 centre-halves, and I think they did well. They had the 2 up front. You know, Sterling was like a false 9, dropping into that role, and that presented issues. You know, first and foremost, they wanted to be narrow. They wanted to be narrow. And I think they beat us tactically. Clearly they beat us tactically. Arteta's defeated Pep Guardiola tactically. He was defeated. That's how football is. It is what it is. We know these two, they're very tactical. We all know they were trying to suss each other out. In fact, early on, if I may, people, you know, it looked like they were coming to press us. You know, they pressed us quite aggressively. And to our credit, we got out of these sort of situations quite well. But it's like they said, all right, cool, let's let them play. Let's let them get further up the field, and we'll simply just pick it up off here. We'll just pick it up, you know. They outcrowded the midfield. They obviously had Mahrez is a winger, but he wants to be narrow and pick up the ball. Foden by trade is going to gravitate into there. Sterling dropped as well, and this presented us several issues. This, when you consider our team now, you can see how this presented us issues. You've got two technical men that are quite narrow, so your fullbacks don't want to go forward too tough. Our midfield just got overloaded and eaten alive. You know, you had Aubameyang out there, you had Willan in a false nine, and you had Pepe. Now Willan kind of shagged us. I don't see why Willan played there. You know, I don't get it, but I'm prepared to give Arteta. You know, Arteta knows his stuff. He's the gaffer. I don't see what he was doing in that regards. I don't see what he was doing in that regards, people. But nonetheless, what was presenting us with issues, because like I said, they're winning that battle already, and they're obviously going to come further up. Like, Willian's not going to act as a focal point, and maybe for Arteta, sometimes, you know, keep the basics. Could you have done what you wanted to do with Aubameyang through there? Because you saw Willian was dropping deep, Aubameyang's getting narrow. You know, Pepe not really involved. All of them were poor individually, but tactically we didn't help them, and they're just going to get further up the field. And you saw Willian and Pepe even swap. It was silly. Occasionally Aubameyang got there, and Aubameyang was poor, but I don't think he's being helped in games like this. I don't think we try and hit him, you know, into these channels. I don't think, you know, we try and find the runs he makes, but at the same time, he's obviously got to do a bit more, because he hasn't had a shot, you know, against Liverpool and Man City, two teams he's put to the sword at Wembley. You know he's a gunman in front of goal. You know he's a scary individual. On one hand, we've got to create for our man, but can you dig it out yourselves? And that just doesn't go just for Aubameyang, that goes for several players, because tactically, I don't know what we're trying to do going forward. Pardon me, I don't think we had much about us. One thing I did like though, and you know, Man City are always going to be skilled from playing out the back, people. Apologies, it's better yet, I'll just put this down. City are always going to play out from the back. They're always going to be able to get out of these gaps, people. But I'd say one benefit I personally liked and saw from our team was, you know, and this is more so in the first 20. Clearly David Luiz was being told to do it, and quite a few players must have been told to do it. You know, let's just make it a normal back three. And before I even continue, people, you know, I don't need to pull it out there, but what I just said about them congesting the midfield, apologies, people. You know, you could see how important Cancelo's movement was. You know, he was coming quite narrow. You know, they already had Raheem Sterling and Sergio Aguero dropping deep. You had Sterling complicating things. You had Phil Foden gravitating towards it. You had Mahrez gravitating towards it. You obviously had your guy Rodri in the midfield as well. You had Bernardo Silva. Rodri's probably more there. Bernardo Silva in real time was, for me, receiving it off these centre halves when Ake's going out there, when Walker's going out there. You obviously had Mahrez being narrow, and Cancelo had the freedom to go out there. But what I liked is when he became narrow, and they ate us in that regards, people. They overloaded the spaces, and we couldn't cope. That's one point. But the actual point I wanted to mention, people, was the one benefit I saw. If I just make it a normal 3 at the back, 5 at the back, because it's easier to explain. And I put their midfielders as one shows for it, and there's one there. One thing I liked, when they were trying to play out from the back, people, you know, and it was even if I put Raheem Sterling, just to make an example, Raheem Sterling and Sergio. One thing I liked, the one benefit I liked, people, the one thing I'll take from today, at a period we forced them into mistakes. I'm sure you all saw a couple of times they tried to play out from the back. It would fall to Alisson, and like, let's just say, let's remove you because it's easier. You know, this guy would, let's say Sergio would go deep. Luiz would go with him, and he'd just snap it in there, and we'd win it out there. That's one thing I like. Like I said, the shape defensively, you know, that thing I've just mentioned, that was cool. I just think beyond that, we didn't have too much to our game plan in an attacking sense. We needed to do more in the final third, and you can defend as much as you like. You need to have half a go at the opposition. The goal we conceded was very disappointing for me personally. You know, it's a mixture of, I don't know whether to applaud City or look at us, because I feel City played out from the back. They got out expertly, but it was silly. You know, I can't fault Bukayo Saka, but I felt Bukayo Saka and Tierney could have done better. Bellerin was poor to allow Foden to have the shot. Gabriel and David Luiz are unaware of the run of Raheem Sterling, and our midfield is just all over the place, people. It's too easy. It's too easy, and not to scale. Of course, I can't physically scale the actual dynamics, people. But this is what happened in real time. You know, you had David Luiz. You know, you probably had Saka here. Not to scale. You had Sergio Aguero there. You know, you had Raheem. You had Phil Foden. You had Bellerin. Let's say Sergio picked it up there. Raheem Sterling, I can't even remember where he was, but I'm just going to put him there. You know, you've got, let's say Tierney, Saka. Now, not to scale, folks, yeah, but this is where we were poor. This is where we were poor. This is where we were poor, people. Let's just say Raheem. That's Sergio. That's Raheem Sterling. It's not to scale, people, of course, but that's Raheem Sterling. Focus with me. This is Raheem Sterling. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to remove Raheem Sterling. They played out from the back. It happens. You can't press them. You can't get away with it all the time. It happens, people. They will get out. They're a great team. But for me, it's not good enough. You know, Tierney and Saka. You know, Saka could have tracked back, as could have Tierney. You know, it's too easy for Mahrez to play it inside. This is where we messed up. It's actually Sergio Aguero. You know, Sergio's come deep a lot of times as well. I'm giving a lot of credit to Sterling and helped started the move. We're not getting tight enough. You know, it's too easy from Ceballos. Xhaka is caught higher up the field. You know, Aguero's not marked. We've messed up then. We've messed up. It's eventually gone out to Phil Foden, and not to scale, of course, but it's gone out to Phil Foden. And this is what annoyed me, people, because you know midfield runners, again, not to scale, but Raheem Sterling's run isn't picked up. It's not picked up, you know. Saka doesn't clock it. Tierney don't clock it. Midfield runners don't clock it. You know, as the ball is being played in real time, Raheem Sterling's making his run. The ball's down here. David Luiz shuffles. Even Gabriel, who had a good game, was guilty of it. He's gone. He's onside. He's gone. They're all ball watching, you know. Foden's done his thing eventually, and he's had a shot, people. And now we're obviously Gabriel's like here. No one's looked over their shoulder. It's too easy from Bellerin, but eventually Phil Foden's managed to fashion a shot, and it's fallen to Raheem Sterling, people. Now, Raheem Sterling isn't picked up. That's why it's easy, and he had a lot of time. And if you lot remember, Sergio was there. Again, not to scale, people, because I can't physically do it. But Sterling isn't being picked up. Like I said, he's not being picked up by 1, 2, 3, 4. He's just simply making that run. So when Leno's made that save, no one's picking him up. He had the freedom of the park to obviously do his thing. He could have taken an extra touch, which he didn't need. Sergio Aguero could have got his first goal on his return, people. So there were some positives, but it's about fine margins in games like this. It's about fine margins if we want top 4. You know, it's not about showing consistency in certain periods. It's about showing it over a sustained period of time. So like I said, clearly on what we worked on in the week worked to a degree, collectively as a unit. The individual roles didn't quite work, you know. From an attacking sense, only Bukayo Saka looked a consistent threat. Gabriel did his thing in defence, but collectively we all let ourselves down. You know, the experiment of Willan as a false 9 is the gamble you take, you know. If it worked, Arteta would have been held as a genius. Now people will talk about why are you putting square pegs in round holes, which he has to face the music there. Like I said, for me, I was impressed with the first 20, but probably respected City a bit too much. We didn't try and really engineer our own opportunities, like chances were too far and beyond. I did think at times there was a bit of gaps for both teams, really and truly. It looked like we had a plan. I'd say for the players, it's like this is more so for the players. Like Arteta's got to be able to react, but it's a bit like a boxing match. Like everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And I think when that punch came in the 20-odd minute, I didn't really, for the players, I didn't really see them react as much as I wanted to. It seemed like, you know, it hit us a bit mentally that we've conceded and we don't really know how to go about this to get a goal. That's just personally what I picked off, people. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Maybe we defended a bit too deep. Maybe we could have got higher up the field. It is what it is. It's down to Arteta and the boys, you know, Monday to go again to analyse how the game went right and wrong, and incidences to improve it, and most importantly, forgive themselves. Learn the lesson, but forgive yourselves. And we move forward to a tough game against Leicester City on Sunday, and I think we have Rapid Vienna on Thursday in the Europa League. So there's two games this week. We can't afford to feel sorry for ourselves. The games are coming thick and fast. You know, after this Leicester game, forgive me if I'm wrong, people, is it not Manchester United? So the games are coming very fast. We cannot afford to feel sorry for ourselves. We simply just have to go again. On that note though, I've got nothing more to add. People, deluded, I'm out.